To appear. Paul Rykov is back with us, host of the Independent Americans podcast, founder of American Veterans for Ukraine. Let's look at this. We have the CNN statement, Paul, as you start off your comments on RFK, saying the law in virtually every state provides that the nominee of a state-recognized political party will be allowed ballot access without petitioning as the presumptive nominees of their parties. Both Trump and Biden will satisfy this requirement as an independent candidate under the applicable laws. RFK Jr. currently does not. We'll stop there for now. But the point is, it's one-on-one. It looks like no Kennedy. What's the effect?
Yeah, bottom line, he's out.
Yeah.
And I think the effect is that he's going to continue to decline. I think he came out with some pretty promising numbers for an independent candidate, but now he's consistently kind of stuck at below 15% if you compare it to Ross Perot, who was at 19% nationally when he overperformed most other recent independents. So it feels like the Kennedy campaign is struggling. Their vice presidential candidate didn't move the needle. He struggled to get media attention. He struggled to raise money, and it looks like he's losing momentum. But importantly, he is on the ballot in 5 states, might be 7, and one of them is Michigan.
Where you don't need 15% to impact an election. I mean, it depends what conversation we're having. We're talking about Kennedy possibly being president. I mean, for a while in '92, people used to talk that way about Ross Perot. There was, well, maybe we'll have a third-party candidate win this thing. Right. And, of course, then that didn't happen. But that's never been the conversation here. It's whether Kennedy will affect the race. To your point, in Michigan, you don't need much.
And he will. I mean, I think that's the underreported part of this story. He's not going to win.
Who?
I'm sorry?
And who does he hurt?
In Michigan, it looks like he hurts Biden. Right, Biden saw about 20% support drop in his support among African Americans, especially younger African Americans, are splintering away from Biden, and they're more likely to go to Kennedy than they are to Trump. You've also got Cornel West, who's a factor there.
Yeah.
We keep focusing back on Michigan because on Election Day, we might be looking at that giant board, and it might come down to one state.
And it might be that one. It's going to be one of the 3 if it's going to be close. I mean, he said this to Larry Sabato when he was on. If Biden's going to win re-election, he's probably going to have to sweep Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, win all 3 of those states. So in one of them, to your point, it might be Michigan that decides the whole thing, and Cornel West and Kennedy could both have a say in it.
Kennedy's going to have an influence. That's undeniable. He's still struggling, importantly, to get support from independents overall. He's not even getting half of the independents in the country. Independents want a third-party option. They just don't want him. So they're going to continue to try to look for a better of the bad options, but they're not sticking with Kennedy. But he can continue to have an impact in Michigan, in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, where Biden continues to struggle with working-class voters, continues to get his base eroded among progressives who are upset about Gaza. So Biden's getting it from all sides, but now so is Trump, who's continuing to see his support among independents slide as well.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. The most recent polling on that shows that 21% of independents are less likely to back Trump post-conviction. There's the numbers. So, of course, 34 felonies convicted here in New York. So we always say you're Mr. Independent. What about this impact of Trump's legal problems? We'll get to his foreign policy here in just a moment.
Yeah, you asked me that question, I think, when we were outside the courthouse.
Yes.
And the trial was coming down. You said, is it going to impact independents? And I said yes, because I think independents are vigilant voters. They're not happy with their options, but they're watching the news. They're focused on foreign policy. They care about the economy. It's hard to be an independent. You've got to defend yourself against your family and against the media and against everyone else. So they tend to be very well-educated voters, and it looks like they don't want a convicted felon in the White House. 20% is significant for Biden, for Trump. Again, in places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, that could be the difference.
It's all the margin conversation. It doesn't take much. Some people move a little bit is all it takes. On the foreign policy question, we had it up there for a moment as a tease, but the return of peace through strength is what this Peace and Foreign Affairs was about. This is your area of expertise. We talk to you about it all the time. Is that what Trump represents, do you think? And what about his foreign policy heading into November?
To some people, I think what it actually represents is the legacy strength of the Republican brand. In America, most people think the Republicans are better on national security than Democrats, whether that's fair or not. Now, Biden is similarly facing that. Democrats are often viewed as weak on national defense, weak on the border. So Trump is kind of drafting off the legacy brand of Ronald Reagan and others. He himself is still viewed as unstable, as unpredictable. We don't know where he's going to shake out. But independents are watching national security. I think most of all what they want is stability. They want moderation. They want someone who's not an extremist and someone who can be predictable and secure and represent the middle part of America. And that's going to be the challenge for both of these candidates.
All right, Paul, as always, thank you very much. Mr. Independent, check out the Independent Americans podcast, and we'll see you again next week. Still ahead is